Okay, let's go then. Welcome everyone. It's always amazing here being at Devoxx. I have only 30 minutes, so too much things to say. I want to show you so many things. Just one thing, because I know this year there's a live stream on YouTube, and I just sent a link to my wife and kids. There's just a little message for my kids, so they're really fan. I've been away for a long time, and they will be really happy if they see it. So, Saskia, Loïs, Mathilde, jeudi j'arrive. Okay. Oh, sorry, that was too fast. Quickly, I'm Sebastien Blanc. That's my Twitter handle if you want to follow me. I'm going to speak to you about security. Oh yeah, that sounds boring, right? But I have good news. I will show you in 30 minutes, well, 29 minutes, that security can be easy, especially with Spring Boot apps. And that's because, what about delegating your security? You know, Kim does that. She does that really well. She has some impressive bodyguards that take care of their security. Well, you can do exactly the same. And that is what Keycloak is. Okay, so Keycloak is a server. It's a file, you unzip it, you start it, it's a server, and it will take care of your authentication, managing your users, everything. I just copy-paste here the pitch line from our website. But to give you a more concrete view of what Keycloak is, before we start the live coding stuff, let's imagine this, an island. That's what Keycloak does. You give Keycloak an island, a realm, a territory to protect. And on this island you have different cities, different applications. In the north, GEE land. No one wants to go there anymore. I have no idea why. On the contrary, you have Angular land. Wow, that's the place to go. Everyone wants to go there. You have microservices land. We're not sure what is happening there. And of course, in the middle, we have Node.js land, king of the world. Okay, and you arrive with your little boat. You navigate to Angular land. Just you navigate on your browser and you go to a web app application. And you arrive there and they say, hey guy, you are not authenticated. Sorry sir, you have to go back to the small island there, Keycloak, to get authenticated. Okay, and you get a redirect. That's really what happened. You get an HTTP redirect. You are redirected to the Keycloak server. And the Keycloak server will present you a login screen, and there you just enter your credentials and everything. And if everything is okay, just like at the customs, you get a stamp, and you can get back to the island and visit all these awesome cities. And this stamp that you get is not just a random stamp or random number. You get a JWT token that is for JWT token, JSON Web Token. That is a token that contains, in fact, some payload. And with this token, you can, well, go through all the islands. And if we go quickly how this token looks like, there's a header. We don't care too much about that. There's a claims. That's the payload of your token. There you put all the interesting stuff, your username, your roles, until when you're connected, stuff like that. Keycloak will sign this token for you with his private key, so you're sure that any app that needs to use this token, any backend app, front-end app, will be able to verify your token. So they receive this token, they take the public key, they verify your token, and if it's okay, then you're allowed to go further with your request. So I go really quickly here in the slides because I want you, the the topic of this Tools in Action is how to secure Spring Boot application. So in 1 minute, I will show you how to secure a Spring Boot application. Just quickly, Keycloak. So Keycloak is an out-of-the-box solution. You will see it. You just unzip it and you can use it. Of course, it's a Red Hat product. So it's open source. So anything that I will show you is open source. You can contribute. You can submit a pull request. If your pull request is nice, we will just integrate it in the next release. So please do it. We support, of course, OpenID Connect. That's our preference. But we support also SAML or Kerberos. We have some nice stuff to do some social login brokering if you want to add Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, identity providers. User federation, if you want to connect your LDAP server to Keycloak, we can do that out of the box. Single sign-on, SSO, that means if you are logged in one app and you open a tab in another app, in another tab, you will just be connected. But 24 minutes, I'm not really, sorry, that's my wife sending me some stuff on Facebook. I just want to show you from scratch how you can secure a Spring Boot app. So what I have here is, it's a really simple app. It's called the product app. And in fact, let's start from the landing page. We have a landing page, public, accessible for everyone. My awesome page, and there's just one link to my products. And this page, in the end, we want to product this page. What is on the product page? Well, it's a template here. We just iterate through products, and we show these products. If we look at the code itself, it's really not that complicated. Sorry, here. I just get a get mapping on products. And here we just return the service get products. What you can see here is a really exciting service that just returns a hard-coded list of products. Okay? So if I run this app and, oh, it's already running, sorry. Let's take a look at it. And I just go there. We'll see that we have, so here we have our awesome landing page. You can already see my CSS skills here. And if I go to my products, okay, we get a list of my products. Excellent. Okay, so let's secure this application. And let's start from the really beginning. So you want to use Keycloak. Where do you start? You go to keycloak.org. And you just have a tab here called Download, and you just download the Keycloak server. That is what I did. And then you have your Keycloak server zip here, and we just unzip it. Let's unzip it to, let's see, I prepared here Devoxx stuff, so we just unzip it there. And let's go to this folder. So we got it here, Keycloak. Let's go to the bin folder. And here I will have a command, standalone.sh, that will start my server. And here I just give some extra parameters to have a port offset, because my Spring Boot app is already running on port 8080, so I don't want any conflict. Okay, here we go. So you saw I just unzip it and I just launch it. Okay, my Keycloak server is running. So first thing that you can do is access your Keycloak server that has been deployed. Sorry, it's a bit too big, exactly. That's good. Okay, because it's the really first time I have to define admin user, so let's make a really secure admin user as usual. Here we go. And let's now access my Keycloak web console. So that is a place here on the web console where I define my realms, my users, my roles, my clients. What is a client for Keycloak? Well, client is any app that Keycloak secure. Could be a front-end app, a back-end app. No matter, for Keycloak, it's a client. Oh yeah, and before that, here we are on the master realm. Let's create our own realm for this demo. And let's call it Devoxx. I call it Devoxx. So now I'm in my own realm. And I want to protect, I want to secure my product app. My product app application. Okay, so I create a new client here. I can keep all the defaults. I want to use OpenID Connect, okay. It's a public client. And the only real thing I have to fill in here is the redirect URL. Because when my app will redirect me to Keycloak, it has to redirect me back to my application. And that's the only field I have to enter here, so it's really easy. My app will be running on localhost port 8080. And that's it. Okay. And then I want to create a role for my users. So I will create just a really simple role called user. Here we go. Now I got my role user. And last part, I need a user. So let's go to user. And here I can do add user. So the only mandatory field here is the username. Let's call it Sebi. And we just save it. And two things to do. I have to affect some credentials to it. So here I just give it the password Sebi as well. I reset password. Okay. And last thing, I want him to have the role user as well. Here we go. We're done. We're done on the Keycloak side. Now we go back to our Spring Boot app. What needs to happen here now to secure, to make the connection between Keycloak and my Spring Boot app? First thing, I need to add the Keycloak starter. So if you know Spring Boot has a lot of starters that help to setting up stuff. We have a Keycloak started, which is available on start.spring.io. I will show you that later, depending on the time. But the only thing you need to add here is this part, this dependency. If you add that, you can start playing with Keycloak in your Spring Boot app. And then, the nice thing is, you don't have to touch your code at all. The only thing you have to do is to provide some configuration. So let's go to the configuration page in our application.properties. And so here just I was disabling Keycloak. So there are some stuff we need to tell our Spring Boot app. The first thing is, where does our Keycloak server is running? So this one is easy. It's running at localhost 8081/us. Okay, the other one is in which realm is my application declared? Well, it's easy. We create one called Devoxx. And then we have to say, well, what is the name of my resource, my client? Well, we said it's product app, okay. And then there's another one called, it's public client. Yes, it's a public client. Okay. That are the mandatory fields. Now, my Spring Boot app can make the connection with my Keycloak server to verify the signatures of the tokens and stuff like that. But I still miss my security constraints. I need to tell my application which parts of my app should be secured. Okay? So that is pretty easy. If you know a bit about the old times of Java EE and security constraints, where you can specify security constraints in the web.xml, it's just the same here, except it's not in the same format. Here it's just using the Spring Boot application.properties format. Okay, so it's okay. Here I just use a template because it's really boring to type. Let me just explain you what happens here. So here I create a new Keycloak security constraints. I can have several ones, that's why it's an array. And here I say I create a new one, and that is for users that has the wall user. Yeah, I could have chosen another name. But that means that, and the second line is important, that every request that comes to product/star needs to be authenticated, and the user needs to have the role user. Okay? And I'm done. That's all I have to do. Let me just save this, and let me relaunch the app. And let's see if now, okay, let me just open an incognito window, and let me go back to the landing page. And if the demo gods are nice with me, if now I press here, you see I'm redirected to Keycloak. So that is now Keycloak presenting me a login form because products is protected. So here I can just try out with my Sebi username. And if I go there, you see I'm just logged in. I can easily log out. And I come back to this screen. I can show you just the logout, how it looks like in my controller, because it's really simple. Here, look at my logout. I just do a logout mapping, and I just inject the HTTP request, and I just do a request.logout. Okay? So it's that easy to protect your app. Let's just spend some time on this screen here and go back to the Keycloak console. So here, as I said, you can control everything. And if we go to Realm settings and on the login tab, we can fine-tune our login screen. So let's imagine, yeah, I want user registration. Yeah, my user will probably forget their password, so I need to be able to send them back an email. Remember me, yeah, I don't want to log over and again. And you just save that, and if you go back to your app here and that you just refresh, you will see here, you can see it, you can register now as a new user, you can have the remember me, you have the forgot password. Something else, like, well, I would like my users to be able to use your Facebook account or GitHub account. Can we do that? Sure. If we go here to identity providers, you can easily add an identity provider to your realm. And, well, we are Devoxx. You all have a GitHub account, I imagine. So you just click here, and here, well, let me just put here dummy numbers. Something like that, but in fact you should create a real app on the GitHub site. You just save that, and again, if we go back here you see, you will be able just to log in using your GitHub account. Okay, so that's the first thing that you can do with Keycloak and Spring Boot apps. So what I showed you now was using the servlet container security stuff. In fact, what happens under the hood, the Keycloak adapter will secure your Tomcat or your Undertow or your Jetty servlet container. But if you are a Spring fan and you want to do security, you probably want to do Spring security. So let's see if Keycloak also plays well with Spring security. Well, the good news is we have support for Spring security, so it's pretty easy. We have one thing to do here in our POM. We just have to add one starter It's not a starter from Keycloak, it's a starter from Spring Boot itself. It's the security. It's the security starter. Okay? If we add the starter, it will bring in the Spring security jars and everything. And now we can try to integrate Spring security with Keycloak. So for those that knows a bit Spring security, you probably know that the first thing you have to do when you do an application with Spring security is to implement a class that extends a security config class provided by Spring security. With Keycloak, it's exactly the same. The only thing is that we provided our own class that already extended that Spring security class. And it's just like you will do with any other security config class. So let me show you how it looks like. So here, again, I'm using a template because I don't want to spend time on that. But it's pretty easy. You create a new class, you annotated that with Keycloak configuration. You call it as you want. It just have to extend this class. Okay, let me close that. And here we have some pretty basic stuff like you will do with any Spring security stuff. But what is important here is this part, is the configure method that you have to override. And here, just like I did with my security constraints, I just specify which path should be protected or not. And here you can recognize that I just want to protect products with the whole user. And that's all. So that's all I need to do, really. And what I can do here is just remove this stuff because I don't need it anymore, because it's not the servlet that will be secured, the servlet container, but it's Spring security taking care of that. So I just remove that, and I just rerun it. And if I go back to my landing page, and I just log in. Here we go. You see, nothing really impressive here, but now it's using Spring security. But it's still doing the redirect with Keycloak and all that. That means stuff that means that, for instance, in my product here, I could also play with injection. I can just inject my principal. And let's say my principal, let me just import it, security, my principal, and I can add it to my model here. Okay, and it's called, let's say, username, and here I say I want to inject my username from the principal, so it's just principal get name. By default, it will put out my ID of my username. I can easily change that here in my properties. I have something called principal attribute preferred username. That means I want to use my username. And I just need to change here my template. And here it says my products. We can say instead, say hello. And we do just username. Here we go. And that should be good. Let me just double check that I put username. Okay. I just rerun my app here. Okay, here we go. And if I refresh this, you see it says, hello, Sebi. It just injected my principal. I could do the same with walls, and everything you are used to do with Spring security, you can just keep doing the same things. Just that Keycloak is now handling the whole authentication and the user management stuff. So I have 6 minutes. That's not too much. So really quickly. That is pretty awful, you know. Returning hard-coded list. It would be nice if I have a REST service that provides me a list of products. Let's see how we can change that and make this application calling another application in a secured way. So I really wanted to do that in live coding, but I don't have any time left. So I got it here. It's a other Spring Boot app, really simple. This one. If you take a look at the controller here, I just have a REST controller here, and it just returns my products. I just changed the product, so you're sure it's not the same. And I'm just securing that like I told you. I just changed the port, so there's no port conflict, and we can just run that. Okay, and now I need, so let's make sure this app is running here. So if I go here to localhost 8081/products, awesome. It's exactly what I want. My REST service is protected. I get an unauthorized status because I didn't provide any token. So let's see what we can do on our product app. So it make a request to this REST service and it pass the token to it so it can get a result. If you are used to build Spring Boot apps, you probably know the REST template. REST template is a class that is provided that make it really easy to make REST requests to other services and stuff like that. What we did, we provided a Keycloak REST template. That means that you can just make your request as you will do, and it will just add the token to the request. Okay? And that is called, let me see. Oh. Okay, that was pretty easy here. I got a Keycloak client request factory. And now with this factory, I can just inject into my service this template here. And which is really, really nice is that if you go to the documentation, I should have this app. 3 minutes, okay. Got. OpenID, here we go. Spring Security. I'm doing live coding based on our documentation. That's really funny. Okay, here we go. Spring Security, and I just want to do get products. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, I just grab that, and I just can paste it here. And I just have to change the endpoint. And here my endpoint is, well, the new REST services that we created. So localhost port 8081/products. Okay, here we go. And that's all I need to do. And I have some errors here. I don't know what it is. Let's just assume it's nothing. I think it's just IntelliJ playing with me. Okay, and now if I go back to my app, I log out and I log in again. You see? Now my app is calling my REST service that was protected. You see it here. This REST service was unauthorized here, but using my Keycloak template, now I can use this REST service. And that was just to show you how you can do service-to-service security. And I have 1 minute left to show you how to secure a web app. Because now we have a REST app, so we can create a web app, an Angular app, and then this app will just call our REST service. So really, really simple, really quickly. Let me show you the important points here. We have a Keycloak JavaScript library. You just instantiate it here. And it will do the redirect and everything that you need. And the nice thing is with Angular, you can add an interceptor. So here what we say is each time that our web app will do a request to any service, it will add the authorization barrier to it. Okay? And 30 seconds, come on. Okay, let me run this app. Okay, let me just run the app. And I also need to add it here, my client. I didn't. Oh, product. Now I'm working in stress mode. Photo web. Okay, here we go. And I want to redirect it to localhost 8082. Woo! Yes, thank you. Localhost. Doesn't that exist? I thought so. And I have to specify my web origin. Okay. Let me think if I didn't make any mistakes. And if I go here to localhost 8082 this time, this is my web app. So just running on the browser. And I reload, and you see my products, and you notice that I didn't have to log in again. You know why? Because I was already logged in on this app, and that is the single sign-on. So that is what I wanted to show you. How to secure a Spring Boot app, then adding Spring Security, then how, if you have a microservice, REST service, how to secure that as well, and how to make the communication. And if you have a web app, how you secure that. And that's it for me, and I'm here until tomorrow evening, and thank you very much.